Welcome to the channel. So today we are going to work on our latest machine that was released on OneHub, which is Shell-Red, and this is a part of the OnSystem series. And this is rated as easy, so it should be a good learning experience for all the beginner CTF players out there. And the lucky part is you have privilege escalation for this. So there are a couple of good concepts that this machine covers. So let's dive into it. Okay, so I've used the net discover command and I already know the IP address of the target machine. So I'm just going to dive in and do the recon. So I use the nmap tool generally. So the command is nmap. So as you can see, the command is executed. So I've run a basic. So what this command does is it runs a set of basic scripts on the target machine. And so as you can see here, it has identified the FTP service running on port 21. And another thing that you have to note is there is anonymous FTP login allowed. So what this indicates is that you can log into this system using the FTP that is running on port 21 as an anonymous user by using the username anonymous and password anonymous. So login successful, and so we are actually logged into the system using the FTP service. So I've run the ls command. So here you can't find any files in the system, but do not be tricked by such scenarios. As you can see, there's a hidden file called HANA, so you can navigate into that. And yeah, so as you can see, we have found a file called id underscore rsa. So I'll explain what this file is in a bit. So as of now, you can just download this using the get command that is supported by the FTP, and you can also specify the target directory. So over here I've already downloaded the file, so I'm just going to exit. So as you can see, I already have the id underscore rsa file over here. So let's see what this file actually is. So here you can see that this is the private key that OpenSSH uses. So before all this, so before I move on further, I just want to give a quick brief about how OpenSSH works. So basically, OpenSSH uses asymmetric and key encryption. So what happens here is you have each system generates its own private key and public key. So the public key can be shared with other systems, whereas the private key is supposed to be kept secret, and the systems exchange the public keys. And so to be brief, the challenge response system take place, and there's a bit of computation that takes place, and there's a session that is established between these two. So to establish this session, you need the public key and private. So now basically any CTF player who has a bit of experience gets three hints here. The first one is this is a private key, and the second one is so this probably hints that there is an SSH service that is running that we haven't identified yet on the target system. And the third thing is you have to find a way to log in using this SSH key. And so first let's identify the SSH port try to identify the SSH port that we haven't identified yet. So what this minus p switch does is it actually also scans for the all the ports, that is even including the lower range ports on the target system. And we can see that there's some servers running on 61000 port. So now let's dive further and see what that is. Or you can just give. So as we have predicted, there is an SSH port that is actually running on 61000. So SSH port generally runs on port 22, but the person who has designed this has cleverly changed it to a lower end port. So if you do not know this command, so you might not be able to find this. So luckily there is a way to log in to the remote server when you have the private key of the server. So I'm going to SSH minus ID underscore RSA. So I am forcing SSH to use this key to establish a session with the target system instead of using the normal keys. So, and I'm guessing that the username is Hannah because the folder we have found, this file is named Hannah, and Hannah is actually the name of this, a part of the name of this challenge. So I'm going with Hannah, and I'm also mentioning that SSH to use the 61000 port instead of the conventional 22 port. Sorry, I have to see. And voila, we have so due to some thanks to some misconfigurations, we could log into this using the private key without any password. So as a proof, we can try these two commands, ID and who am I. So I'm actually Hannah. So yeah, what we have to do now is we have Hannah as the current user, and we have also found the user flag. So generally there are flags like this hidden inside the machine, which can be accessed by Hannah, which suggests that you have gained the initial access to the system, that is the user access. And now we have to try to do privilege escalation to get ourselves to the root privilege. So now let's see how that is done. So generally how I do is I immediately upload some scripts. So we have to actually move into the temp directory where any user has permission to write into this directory, so we can upload any file over here. And I'm going to use the Python simple SSH simple HTTP server. And I'm going to use the wget command. Hopefully it is present in the target system. So my IP address is 10.0.2.9, and the file I want to upload is this. So yeah, so actually the file is present in this directory, the downloads directory, and I've navigated into that directory, and I've run this command so that I can download so I can host a server on the port 80, a simple HTTP server, so that I can transfer my files. This is a simple method to transfer files into the remote system. So I can use wget command here, my IP address and the file I want to download, and simply it will download. So as you can see, I have the file over here. So yeah, I've previously downloaded the file over here, and I've run the command also, and I've saved the result into the file. So I'm going to directly show you that file. You can also run the script by giving it executable permission, like I'm doing right now. So this command will give the file executable permissions, and then you can execute using the dot slash followed by the file name. So now this is the result that you'll get after executing the lin enum sh script that I've used here. So that is a very handy script that you can use for privilege escalation. I generally prefer this tool. So as a force of habit, I directly dive into the SUID and SGID permissions. So what SUID does is it gives there is something called SUID in Linux, which gives a file a temporary permission to run as a root. So if you have any misconfiguration regarding the SUID file, you can actually escalate yourself to root using that vulnerability in that system. So over here I can identify that there is CPU limit. So this is one of the doubts I have. So it may not be true, it may be true. You may be going in the right direction or the wrong direction, but this is one of something that is not common. So how do you verify that? So generally you have something called GTF opens. I'll include this in the link in the description so that you guys can easily navigate to that. So what this does is, if you have a doubt that CPU is there any exploit for the CPU limit, since it is under the SUID, you can verify it here. So you can use CPU limit. So as our suspicion is right, there is something you can do with CPU limit. So what CPU limit can do? It can be used to break out from restricted environments by spawning the internet. So what he's trying to tell here is you can use this command. So bin.sh or bin.bash is the shell used by root. So by shell I mean that it is just an interpreter that it is just an environment, or you can call it as an interpreter that takes the commands that you're giving and converts it into some format that the system can understand. So a root has a shell which is called /bin/bash. So that is what we have to try to get access to here. You have to try to get access to the /bin/bash shell. So what he's trying to suggest here is use this command to break out of the restricted environment and get into the root. So yeah, I'm going to believe this guy. So So what this actually does is, what CPU limit, I've done a bit of research on this, and what CPU limit does is it tries to restrict this. For example, I've given /bin/dash. So what it does, it tries to manipulate that process that is running, and it tries to restrict the CPU the CPU resources that process is trying to use. So that is what basically CPU limit does. So as given in GTF bins, I'm going to run this command to see if I break into the root shell. Yeah, so actually a shell has spawned. So to verify previously, we have to try use the ID command. So as you can see here, we haven't actually gotten the root shell. So there is a problem here that you have to identify. So what has gone wrong here is, let me explain. So since this so the bin/bash that we have run here is actually running as HANA, not as the root. So since you're manipulating the /bin/bash over here, since it has to run as the root. So the problem that is happening here is HANA. It is being run as HANA. The slash bin dot slash bash command, the shell that we're trying to get, is actually running with HANA privileges, not the root privileges. So something has to be done over there. You have to break out of that restriction that you're still facing. So for that, I've actually, there's a simple C program that is available. So this is the C program. What it does is, it tries to, you know, first give the setu ID to 0 and set GUID to 0. So what it does is, it makes sure that simply, in simple layman terms, it tries to run slash bin slash dash with SUID 0. That is, it tries to run this command as the root himself. So this might help us to break out of this restriction that we are facing now. So what I've done is, I've actually compiled this. So when you have a C program, you have to compile it using the GCC. I'm going to give the command GCC the C file, and along with that, you have to give the O switch and which file you want this compiled program to be put into. So this is a basic simple command that you have to follow. This won't work here because GCC, this system doesn't have GCC, that is the compiler. So you can, like we transferred the enum message script, you can run compile this in your local script and transfer it into your remote shell. I've already done it here. So as you can see, this is the PE file that I've already compiled, and I've changed the permission to make it executable. So I'm using the same CPU command that we have used before, but now I'm going to run the PE executable that we have made earlier. You limit the same command, but instead of slash bin slash dash, we are going to use slash p. And yeah, so we have gained the root access here, so I can prove it to you. ID and who am I? Root. So as you can see, we have access to root over here. And how can you prove that you have access to root? Is generally the root, like we have seen earlier, the user.txt was stored in HANA. The root.txt, the proof that you have got the root user of this system, can be proved by providing this hash that can be found in this. It is typically placed in txt, and this is the hash that you have to provide to prove that you have gotten the root access. So this is basically how you solve this machine. Thank you.